Have you ever considered how much self-discipline it takes to be a Christian? Many people carry a misconception that Christianity is solely about faith and grace, overlooking the significant role self-discipline plays. The practice of spiritual disciplines like prayer, fasting, and Bible study isn't a walk in the park. It demands a certain level of self-discipline. These elements aren't just rituals, they're tools for training our spirit, mind, and body. It turns out self-discipline is a key ingredient in the Christian journey. Meet John, a Christian who strongly believes in the power of self-discipline. John wasn't always a Christian. He grew up in a small town, living a life that was, by his own admission, far from disciplined. His journey to Christianity started with a chance encounter at a local library where he stumbled upon a worn-out copy of the Bible. Curiosity piqued, John began to read. As he delved deeper into the Christian faith, he found himself wrestling with the concept of self-discipline. He was accustomed to a life of freedom, of making his own rules. The idea of surrendering that freedom was daunting, to say the least. But John was determined to understand what it truly meant to be a Christian. He began to pray, not occasionally, but consistently. Every morning and every night he would kneel and converse with God. He found solace in these moments of quiet reflection, a sense of calm that he had never experienced before. But prayer was just the beginning. John also started fasting, abstaining from food and drink from sunrise to sunset. This was a test of his physical endurance, but more importantly, it was a test of his spiritual strength. John also committed himself to studying the Bible. He read not just the familiar stories, but also the lesser-known passages, the challenging ones. He wrestled with the words, the meanings, the lessons. And in the process, he began to understand the power of self-discipline. It wasn't about restrictions or rules, it was about patience, perseverance, and faith. Over time, John's faith began to transform. He felt closer to God, more connected to his Christian community, and more at peace with himself. His journey was not easy. There were moments of doubt, moments of struggle, but through it all, he held on to his self-discipline, using it as a tool to strengthen his faith and deepen his connection with God. As John discovered, self-discipline isn't about control, it's about surrendering control to God. In the Bible, self-discipline isn't just a suggestion, it's a command. It's a principle woven into the fabric of our faith, a vital ingredient of the Christian journey. Let's delve into some verses that underscore this. Take the Apostle Paul's words in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 9, verses 24 to 27. He likens the Christian life to a race, not a sprint, but a marathon demanding stamina and discipline. He writes, "Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize." He's not advocating for competition among believers, but rather, he's urging us to give our spiritual journey the same dedication an athlete gives to their sport. He continues, "Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever." Here, Paul contrasts the temporal rewards of earthly pursuits with the eternal rewards of a disciplined spiritual life. The implication is clear. Our spiritual discipline should be at least as rigorous as any worldly endeavor. Paul concludes with a personal note, saying, "I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize." This is a call to self-control, to mastery over our bodies and our desires. It's a reminder that even those who lead and teach others must exercise self-discipline. These verses beautifully illustrate the biblical basis for self-discipline. They remind us that it's not just about abstaining from sin or engaging in spiritual disciplines, it's about running our race with purpose and determination, training ourselves for godliness, and exercising control over our bodies and desires. It's about striving for an eternal prize that outweighs any earthly reward. As these verses show, the Bible calls us to a life of self-discipline. Meet Sarah, a Christian athlete who sees parallels between physical and spiritual discipline. Sarah's journey began as a young girl with a love for running. She found joy in the rhythm of her footsteps, the wind against her face, the steady beat of her heart. But more than that, she found joy in the discipline that running required. As she grew older, she began to see that the discipline she practiced in her athletic pursuits was not so different from the discipline required in her spiritual life. She discovered that just as her body needed regular training to run faster and longer, her spirit also needed regular nurturing to grow stronger in faith. She began to view her training sessions as an opportunity to cultivate both physical and spiritual discipline. Her discipline in athletics taught her lessons that she could apply to her spiritual walk. She learned about perseverance. There were days when she didn't feel like running, when her muscles ached and her energy was depleted. But she pushed through, knowing that the pain was temporary, but the benefits were long-lasting. In the same way, there were times in her spiritual journey when she felt tired, when she questioned and doubted. But she persevered, clinging to her faith even when it was hard. Sarah learned about sacrifice. She gave up time, comfort, and immediate gratification for the sake of her athletic goals. Similarly, she found that spiritual discipline often required sacrifice, whether it was giving up certain habits, spending time in prayer, or serving others. And, of course, Sarah learned about the rewards of discipline. The joy of crossing a finish line after months of training was akin to the joy she felt when she saw the fruits of her spiritual discipline. A deeper relationship with God, a stronger character, a more loving heart. For Sarah, physical and spiritual discipline go hand in hand. She believes that the same principles that allow her to excel as an athlete also help her to grow as a Christian. And through her story, she hopes to inspire others to embrace the discipline required in both their physical and spiritual lives. Self-discipline isn't just about sacrifice, it's also about reward. Let's delve a little deeper into that sentiment. When we think about discipline, we often associate it with restrictions, with forfeiting things we enjoy. But what if I told you that discipline, particularly self-discipline, is not merely about giving up, but more about gaining? The rewards of self-discipline are manifold, some immediate, others unfolding over time. One of the most profound rewards is peace. Peace is a state of tranquility or quiet, a freedom from disquieting or oppressive thoughts or emotions. A life marked by self-discipline is a life marked by peace. Through the lens of John's testimony, we can see how his disciplined lifestyle afforded him a sense of calm amid the storms of life, a peace that surpassed all understanding. Another reward of self-discipline is joy. Not to be mistaken for fleeting happiness dependent on circumstances, but a deep-seated joy that stems from within. Joy is a byproduct of living a disciplined life. Using Sarah's testimony as an example, we see how her disciplined approach to her faith brought her immense joy. Despite the challenges she faced, her joy remained unshaken. It was a joy that was rooted in her relationship with God, a joy that was steadfast and enduring. This leads us to another significant reward, a closer relationship with God. Self-discipline in our spiritual journey allows us to cultivate a deeper connection with our Creator. It's like pruning a plant. As we remove the excess, the unnecessary, we make room for growth, for deepening our roots in our faith. John and Sarah's stories illustrate this beautifully. Their disciplined lives led them to a more intimate relationship with God, a relationship that was their source of strength and guidance. In the grand scheme of things, self-discipline is not about losing, but about gaining. Gaining peace, joy, and a deeper relationship with God. These are rewards that outweigh any temporary pleasure or momentary satisfaction. As John and Sarah discovered, self-discipline brings its own rewards. So let's embark on this journey of self-discipline, knowing the rewards that await us. So how can you develop the self-discipline it takes to be a Christian? Firstly, setting goals is an essential step in the journey towards self-discipline. Consider the story of Noah, who was tasked with building an ark. The goal was clear, daunting, yet achievable. It required planning, perseverance, and most importantly, self-discipline. Now, your goal might not be to build an ark, but it could be to read a chapter of the Bible daily, or to dedicate a specific time for prayer each day. By setting clear, achievable goals, you create a roadmap for your spiritual journey. Secondly, developing routines can greatly enhance your self-discipline. Remember the testimony from John earlier? He shared how his routine of daily scripture reading and prayer has not only disciplined him, but also deepened his relationship with God. Establishing a routine creates structure, and structure breeds discipline. It's like setting the rhythm of your life to the beat of self-discipline. Thirdly, seek accountability. In the Bible, we see countless examples of individuals who held each other accountable. Moses had Aaron, David had Jonathan, and Paul had Barnabas. In the same way, Sarah testified about the power of accountability in her life. She shared how having someone to share her spiritual journey with has helped her stay disciplined in her faith. So, find someone who can journey with you, someone who can encourage you when you stumble and celebrate with you when you succeed. Finally, remember that self-discipline is a process, not a destination. It's about making small, consistent choices every day that align with your faith. It's about choosing to wake up early for prayer, even when you'd rather sleep in. It's about choosing to read the Bible, even when you'd rather watch TV. It's about choosing God, even when the world offers you countless other options. With these strategies, you too can develop the self-discipline it takes to be a Christian. So, are you ready to embrace the self-discipline it takes to be a Christian? It isn't a rhetorical question, but rather a challenge. A challenge to step out of your comfort zone and embark on a journey of spiritual growth and personal transformation. A journey that, while difficult, will lead you to a life of fulfillment, purpose, and joy. You see, self-discipline isn't about punishment or deprivation. It's about aligning your actions with your beliefs. It's about making choices that reflect the love of God, the teachings of Jesus, and the guidance of the Holy Spirit. And let's be clear, this isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about making small, consistent changes that over time will transform your life. Remember the words of Paul in his letter to the Corinthians? Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize? So, what's the first step? It's simple. Start today. Don't wait for tomorrow or next week. Start with a small act of self-discipline. Maybe it's spending 5 minutes in prayer each morning. Or perhaps it's deciding to respond with kindness when you're tempted to respond with anger. Whatever it is, make the commitment and start today. And as you progress on this journey, remember the rewards of self-discipline. The inner peace that comes from knowing you're living in alignment with your beliefs. The joy that comes from serving others. The satisfaction that comes from personal growth and spiritual maturity. The Bible is clear. Self-discipline is not optional for followers of Jesus. It's a command to live a life that reflects the love, mercy, and grace of God. A command to be salt and light in a world that desperately needs it. But don't be discouraged if you stumble along the way. Remember, we serve a God of grace who is ready to forgive and help us get back on track. As the proverb says, "For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again." So are you ready? Ready to embrace the challenge of self-discipline? Ready to live a life that truly reflects your faith? If so, then take that first step today, and remember, you're not alone on this journey. You have the support of a loving God and a community of believers who are walking this path with you. Remember, the journey to self-discipline isn't easy, but with God's help, it's definitely possible. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more content like this, enabling us to reach and inspire more people in their journey towards self-discipline and spiritual growth. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update from us. We're dedicated to providing you with the tools and inspiration you need to live a life that reflects your faith. Thank you for watching, and remember, with self-discipline and God's grace, anything is possible. It's not a journey that's meant to be walked alone, and we're here with you every step of the way. Until next time, keep striving, keep growing, and keep running the race. God bless you all.